So welcome to Friday morning yoga class. So glad that you're here with me. Hope you're having a wonderful morning already. We'll come to that spot where we can just settle into draw inward and just start recognizing things that are going on within us, like our breath, like our thoughts, like our emotions. So take a deep breath in. Let that breath slowly leave the body. Again, take a deep breath in. And very slowly, a little slower than the inhale, release that breath. So amazing, the gift of breath. Obviously, it brings life, but it brings a reminder of balance. And when we utilize this breath where we breathe in, but then a slower, longer breathing out, we signal the autonomic nervous system to just calm down and balance. Take the next few moments just to recognize breath, the body. Give the body appreciation, attention, and respect, love. Bring your attention to any area of the body that's holding tension. Maybe the face, an expression that's tight. Maybe the shoulders need to be allowed to release downward away from the ears. Maybe the weight of the arms need to be allowed to just dangle beside the body. Maybe the hips are tight and they need to allow the knees to float down to the floor. Maybe the feet need to flare out. Just let go of any tension. Take a slow, deep breath in. And again, a little slower breath out. Begin to move the head as you breathe in, lift the chin. As you breathe out, lower. Continue that pattern. The next time you breathe out, pull the chin down into the right collarbone. Feel the stretch down the left side of the neck. Breathe. Remember, as we move through our postures, we hold the posture, but we allow the breath to flow. Lift the chin up as if gazing over to the right of the room. Feel this gentle twist, pull and stretch through the left side of the neck. Release the face over to the opposite side, looking to the left of the room here. Breathe. Pulling the chin now down into the left collarbone. Feel that stretch down the right side of the neck. Allow the chin to float across the chest. Maybe staying here in this half moon sway, if that's good for you. Maybe coming full circle, one way several times, and then the other. Always breathing. Stop the chin as it rolls over the chest. Let it reside there. Feel the stretch down the posterior portion of the neck. Keeping the body long and tall, feel the muscles that are supporting you to keep this body long as you allow the neck to bend. Lifting the head up. Place the right hand on the right shoulder and begin to move through that shoulder, working through that shoulder joint, pulling it back several times, and then moving forward. Just moving through that joint, lubricating the joint with movement. Movement is so crucial to our life. Not only with muscles, bones, ligaments, tendons, but especially connective tissue. Remember that fascia, that connective tissue, that network under the other arm. It's the only system in the entire body that speaks to all the other systems. So you might call it the brain, maybe the third brain. You know, we have our mental brain, we have our microbiome, our gut, which is also a brain of the body, but that connective tissue is a brain in itself as it speaks to everything else. There's so much involved in that connective tissue, and it's crucial that we move and keep that supple and flexible and allow things to work through it, like the lymphatic system. Wonderful. So bring your arms back behind you and just step out with your feet, dropping your hips here, one way and then the other. Again, working through that hip joint. The hips are a prime area where we hold tension, and especially when we sit for long periods of time. Let's stop and work on just one. So we'll take that right foot out. We'll drop it back and forth here. And it doesn't matter how far or how close or how far away, like I said, that the knee is, it doesn't matter. It's what feels good to you. And so when you move through this practice, pay attention of how you're feeling. That's really what this practice is trying to teach you, to stay attentive, to stay present, to listen to the communication that's going on between connective tissue, between your mind, between your body. There's just so much communication going on that we just don't pay attention to, and we miss out on so much. Come to the opposite side now. We step out with that left foot, and we just drop and lower through that hip. Whatever you do, don't sit for long periods of time. Make sure you get up and move. An hour is more than enough to sit still. So really keeping a lot of things from happening when you sit for long periods of time, things that need to happen in the body, like metabolism and enzymes working together. And then just, of course, that connective tissue getting tight. So we'll go ahead and come now to our tabletop position. And this is always a good thing to do early in your yoga practice, so you can assess how your hands feel, the weight in them, and even your knees. How does it feel to be on your knees? If you have issues with your knees, you can always pick up your mat and pull it towards you, make a little bit of a bump, or you can use a pillow or a different mat to give you a little bit of cushion. rock back and forth here, moving in a different dimension here with the hip joint. Again, still helping it to loosen up, especially if you've just awakened this morning, maybe you've slept in the same position all night. That's why often we get up and it takes a moment as we step out of the bed. It takes us a moment. We have to move things around so that we can remodel that connective tissue and loosen up that restriction that's happened from immobility. All right, now ease back into your child's pose. Child's pose is a place that we say we honor the body. So you're driving the fingers forward till you feel a good stretch. You're planting the palm on the mat, opening the fingers wide, thumbs are looking towards one another, and you pull the body back. You can rest the forehead on the mat here. I'm just going to check and make sure that I am not muted. No, I'm not. Good. Okay, so we're in our child's pose. Remember, child's pose, Balasana, is a place that we say we honor the body. So this really is like your soulless, your place that you can come to when you just need rest or time or a moment to be still. Take a deep breath here and breathe out. Surrender the body to the mat. And as you do, surrender all of those things that you're carrying around from day to day, maybe things of the past, maybe things that are just very hard to go through. Surrender all of that off to the side of the mat today. Let your body feel free and light. Let your mind and heart be free and light of any burden. From your child's pose, pick the body up and just flow forward as you allow the upper legs to float to the mat. Lift the heart up. The more the upper legs float to the mat, you're going to notice the more the back contracts. So if you have back issues or if you don't like this contraction, modify. And to do that, we would either bend through the elbows, which is going to put a little more pressure onto the hands and be a little more of a challenge. Or you can lift the upper leg up a bit and lengthen the back more than contracting and bending. Because remember, even though here, when we contract the back, this is a back strengthener. So when we contract the back, we are trying to strengthen the muscles in the back. But remember, when you're hurting, you're not benefiting at all. So try to get rid of that old adage of no pain, no gain. You need to go through this practice and anything else that you do, staying aware of what feels good and what doesn't. Something doesn't feel good in the body's trying to tell you, stop, change before you hurt or injure. From our king cobra, we curl through our toes. We push into the balls of the feet and drive the hips up. And oh, that feels good after keeping the back contracted. We're pushing our hands in front of us on the mat, like we're trying to push away the top of the mat. And we're lifting the hips up. The core is nice and tight. The head dangles and relaxes in between the biceps. We can lift and lower the heels up and down, noticing the core. When we lift the heels up, we take weight off and we notice the core getting tight. So we know that anytime we take weight off of any limb, the core is really going to work for us. We can bend both knees together or one at a time, lengthening through the legs, stretching through the hamstring. So notice when we come into synchronization, we're utilizing, the core, the abdominal area, took off weight. And when we bring or I should say when we synchronize, when we bring the feet together and press both heels down. So just different ways to utilize the limbs together. So knees coming down towards the mat, pushing against the ball of the foot, feeling that in the glute, the core. But then pressing the heels down, feeling that in the hamstring, being able to press the chest to the upper thigh. So again, small movements making a big difference. So as you go through your practice, tweak, if you will, the postures, see what feels good, see what does not. Modify accordingly. Flow forward to a plank. You can be in a full, long plank, or you can set your knees down here in a half plank. So whichever is best for you. Whenever we practice a plank posture, you can always challenge by coming to your side plank, rotating to one side and the other. So always make sure that you have one joint on top of the other. So we never want to compromise. So here, if my hand and my wrist were way out from my shoulder, I would be compromising the shoulder and or the hand. The joint on top of joint, very important here. Again, you can always modify. Putting that knee down, coming to your half plank is a great modification. You can always challenge as well, lifting the leg to balance here. And come back to your plank, lift back to your downward facing dog. From your down dog, lift your right leg into your three-legged dog. Maybe challenge here, flow to your one-legged plank. Come back, three-legged dog. And lower your leg. Same on the opposite side. Lift your left leg now, three-legged dog. Maybe challenge, one-legged plank. And back, three-legged dog. And back down. Again, coming to your plank. Maybe we want to stay here again. Maybe we need the knees down in our half plank. You can crisscross through ankles if so. Or you can challenge in your plank, coming back to that side plank, ensuring once again joints are stacked one on top of the other. Remember, you can set that knee down. Notice the weight in the hand that you're on. A lot of weight there. Note how that feels in the shoulder, in the wrist, in the hand. If it doesn't feel good, modify. If it does, know that you are making your bones more dense with this weight-bearing activity. And back to your plank and lift back to your downward facing dog. Wonderful. Bend through your knees, come to your child's pose. From your child's pose, flow forward to your king cobra, ease down to your baby cobra, Bujang Asana. In my baby cobra, my hands are underneath my shoulders and my heart lifts. Think more of lifting your heart than pulling your head back. Try to level out your head and neck so that there's no strain there, and just lift through the heart to the comfort of the back. So the more I lift my heart, the more my back is going to contract. I have little to no weight in my hands. My elbows are in. If this bothers my back, I lower my heart towards the mat. If I need a challenge, I lift the legs a tad. I can even challenge more, releasing my arms, bringing them behind me, coming into my locust pose, Salabhasana. And I can draw those arms inward so that the hands hover over the sit bones, working the triceps. Try to roll the shoulders back. So retract through your shoulder blades so that they're reaching towards one another, and then draw the hands in and then drive the fingers away. In doing that, you're going to feel the contraction of that tricep in the back of the arm. So our arms are lengthened, but we feel that contraction. This is a very unique aspect of yoga, because often when we're exercising, like with lifting weights, we shorten the muscle when we contract it, but here we're lengthening the muscle as we contract it. Breathe. Release. Bring the hands back under the shoulders. Push from the hands, draw the body back. Now lengthen through the back. So whenever in your child's pose, whenever you are strengthening the back in those postures that we have just performed, like king cobra, baby cobra, things such as that, where we contract the back and attempt to strengthen it, After you've done that, come to these postures like child's pose, down dog, where we lengthen through the muscles of the back. Here I can even drop my forearms down and my forehead down. And once again, think about that surrendering. Think about how your body would feel, how your heart would feel, and how your mind would be freed if every care, every worry, every weight that you were carrying was taken away. How would that feel? Bathe in that feeling for a moment and note that you can have that feeling just by attempting to surrender. Let go. Let go of all of the things that you're carrying around. From your child's pose, lift back up, curl your toes under, push from the balls of the foot, come up onto that downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana, and then walk your hands back to the back of the mat. So you're in your forward fold at the back of the mat now. And we have a slight bend in the knee. We do this purposely because when we bend through the knee, we take weight off. So we're making the core kind of clamp down and work, we're calling on the core, but we're also keeping us from overtaxing the upper portion of the back of the leg, because when you fold forward, that's a deep forward, especially if you can press your chest close to the upper thigh. So even if you're able to do it, sometimes coming into that can be kind of strenuous for the body. So bend the knees just a tad. Again, that will help us call on the core as well. And then when we come up, we want to shift the weight to the heels. So do that before you even think about coming up. Shift the weight to the heels. Notice how your core got a little tighter because we took weight off the toes. They're still on the mat, but very lightly. And while you keep that weight in your heels, drive the crown of the head forward. So that pushing one way and pushing the other, you feel the resistance. Come on up. Your arms come skyward, your hands come to heart center, and you release them to your side. A lot of our yoga practice is dealing with that resistance, moving the body in one direction, moving it in the other direction, but holding here and being balanced while you do so. And isn't that like life? So often we're feeling as if we're being pulled in many directions. But while we need to stay centered and balanced. Stay in the present. So many practices, so many life lessons within a yoga practice. Breathe. Notice how breath flowing through you, not just to you. It flows through you. It comes in and you release it back out. Let life do the same. Don't just hope or wish for things to come to you. Let life come through you. So you receive it, you experience it, maybe even change it, influence it, and allow it to flow on. So the cycle goes. Come to the top of your mat. Move into a flow with me, synchronizing breath with movement. Deep breaths. Inhale the arms up. Exhale them down. Forward fold. Inhale the hands to the shins. Adho Uttanasana. Exhale the hands back down. Inhale into your downward facing dog. Exhale, flowing forward to a plank, half or full. Inhaling, lift. King Cobra. Exhaling, coming back to a plank. Inhaling, lift. Down dog. Exhale, come forward, forward fold. Inhale, a slow reverse swan dive. Exhale your hands. The heart center. Take a moment as you release your arms to your side. Turn your palms forward. Notice all of the miracles occurring within your body. Thoughts coming in, leaving. Emotions allowing you to feel and experience life richly. Energy, vibration, frequency coming to you, moving through you, and then leaving and going to others, other things. Your heart beating. The blinking of an eye. Swallowing. Hearing the music. Touch as your fingers roll across your thumb. All of these small miracles that we don't pay attention to, that we don't give enough appreciation for. Come to your stance here on your mat. Your hips, so your feet are a little wider than hip width apart. And just like when we sit down into a chair, coming to a squat, so we shift the weight to heels and to sit bones, just like we're going to sit down into the base of a chair, but then coming back up, not all the way, but coming up. Again, down, driving with sit bones, not coming down further by leaning forward or dropping the head, but drive with sit bones, press into the heels. Come as low as you can, maybe even coming to a seated squat if you're able, and coming back up, almost to a standing position. Again, coming down as low as you can. Remember, this is not a competition. You come to where it feels like you're getting a good stretch or where you're really utilizing muscles, quadriceps, gluteus, abdominal muscles. Wonderful. The legs together, a little more of a squat here as we come down a little lower, and then step out. And the same, come as far as you can. Step together. Slow and controlled. Slower the better. Challenging muscles, remodeling connective tissue, strengthening bones as we put weight into them. Wonderful. And step out. Hold here. If you can, hover your hands over the knees. If you need to, put weight into them. Remember, putting weight into them a little less challenging, but still very beneficial. Press the sit bones back and down. Wonderful. See if you can take that left leg now, pick it up, and just hold it behind you, keeping the front knee bent. We work on flexibility of the ankle, which is very important. We're working on balance. We're building strength. We're using our core because we took the weight off. And then we can work with movement. Pull the knee up, keeping this leg you're on bent. Push the leg back. Pull the leg up. Push the leg back. When you come down, see if you can come down a little more of a bend on that leg. Pull the leg up. Push the leg back. Wonderful. Sit back down into your squat. Hovering or putting weight into. You choose. Your practice, your time. your body. Remember that, whether it's this class or any yoga practice or anything that you do. Whenever someone tells you, well, do this, if it's a safety issue, another story. But don't do anything that hurts. Your body is not like everyone else's body. You may be able to do much more. You may be able to do much less. That's what you're trying to figure out. You're learning about your body. Come down into a squat as low as you can and step together. Again, low as you can. Press through. Lift up. Come down. Slow and controlled. Come up. Together. Down. And up. And down. Nice tight core. Up. Down. Up. Down. A couple more times. Come together. Slow and controlled. Drive down with the sit bone. And out. And down. When you come back together this time, see if you can pick up that right foot. Again, practicing balance, practicing strength, gaining flexibility. Note how your ankle is flexed. Because the leg is bent, the heel still having the weight. So the ankle is flexed. You're really helping to build that flexion. You're stretching there with that. Then you bring the leg forward and back. Maybe coming down a bit when you come back. Forward and back. Working glutes now, working core now, working balance now. Bring the arms in if that helps. Forward and back. One more. Forward and back. Good job. Wonderful. Maybe ending here with our piriformis squat. So in piriformis squat, where we bring one leg on top of the other, making the number 4, if this is too challenging for you, you can always cross one leg over the other. You can ground yourself by keeping the toes of that leg that's on top. You can keep them on the mat. Or again, you can balance here in your piriformis squat. Shift the weight to the heels, press into the sit bones, breathe. Wonderful. Set that leg down, bring that left elbow to the right knee. Notice how the knee wants to jet out from the other. Try to pull them back together. Push one hand into the other, maybe open the arms into a twist. Your choice. Breathe. Come on back up. Same thing on the opposite side. Now maybe one side this was very easy to attempt. And maybe you come into this side and you notice it's not. Could be from flexibility. Could be strength. Maybe the ankle strength isn't what it is on the other side. Who knows? But you're learning, right? You know what you can do and what you can't do. You know what you need to do because you're listening to the body. Release, and now bring the right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Keep the knees together, push one hand into the other. Core is nice and tight. Maybe you choose to open up. Notice where the palm goes, whether it's focused back or to the front. That tells you a lot about your range of motion in your shoulder. Nice tight core, relax the head down, breathe. And come on back up. Full body stretch. Bring the hands to heart center. Take a moment as you relax your arms to your side. What are you carrying around? Aren't you tired of dragging that around through life? You don't need to do that. Surrender. Surrender those thoughts that keep roaming the hallways of the mind. Those emotions. Feel them. Give them the attention they want, and then you can let go. Declutter, if you will. Clean out the hallways of the mind, the heart, the the body. Give it attention. Notice what feels good, what doesn't. Notice energy. Breathe. Let's move to a sun salutation. Come to the top of your mat. Surya Namaskar. Bring the arms skyward. Swan, dive down, opening the heart. Folding forward, long back, chest pressing to upper thigh, forward, fold. And then lift the left knee up into the chest and extend it back behind you. You can always set that back leg down, or you can keep it up. Let's wiggle that right foot off to the right. And our hands remain underneath our shoulders, just like we're in a plank, but with that right knee bent and forward. And we look at the hands and the feet. And just like we're opening a jar with the hands, we dial out. So we're in our mind thinking about how we would externally rotate. So we would turn our thumbs towards our pinky and the big toe towards the pinky. The hands don't move, but the elbows slightly do. And the engagement all the way up the arm and up the leg is very noticeable. This is your lizard pose. From lizard, you could stay right here. You can come a little deeper onto your forearms. That's a much deeper stretch, but you can come there if you need to. Or you may wish to come into a twist. Left hand down under shoulder, right hand up. Breathe. I release this right on down. I want to go ahead and wiggle that right foot over to the left and settle that back leg down. And I come right into pigeon pose. If I come into pigeon and it just doesn't feel right to me, I can modify by swinging that left leg around, coming onto my back and pulling that right leg over top of me instead of being on the leg. So the only difference here from lying and reclining pigeon to being here in my upright pigeon is that the weight of the body can aid with the stretch of the hip. Pigeon pose is one of those wonderful postures to come into when you have been seated for a long period of time. So whether you've watched a movie for a long time on the sofa, or you've been in a long virtual meeting, or just in person sitting in a long meeting, anything where you've sat for over an hour, this is one of those great postures that allows you to lengthen and release through that contraction of your psoas. Pigeon pose. I can always come to my reclining pigeon on my forearms. I can even jet my arms out from me in the full reclining or full resting pigeon. So whichever is best for you. Remember, listen to your body, take what you need, and leave the rest behind. And then come to your resting pigeon on your forearms. Elbows are under my shoulders. And I'm going to curl through my back toes and I'm going to release that leg that's bent. Because again, if we keep it here for long, long periods of time, that contraction, that connective tissue really clamp down and get tight around the muscles, around the ligaments, tendons, the bones. And that could cause some restriction after any time of staying tight and in a position for a long time. Then we need to release and move and feel how good it feels to release and let go. Same thing with what we were talking about, surrendering to all that stuff that you're dragging around all the time. That could be why you feel fatigued or burdened or tired. So I'm here in my dolphin plank. I can release my legs down, Place my palms on the floor, lift my heart, Sphinx pose. Another back strengthener. Notice your back and how tight it is, the contraction in it. If it bothers you here, let your chest come down. If it feels good, lift your heart away from the mat. And not only feel that contraction and strengthening in the back, but notice that stretch up the abdominal wall. Such a great stretch for the trunk of the body. If I replace my elbows with my hands, come into baby cobra, Bhujanga Asana. Little to no weight in my hands, elbows in, head and neck flat, heart lifted. Baby cobra. And then push up to your king cobra. Lift up to your downward facing dog. Breathe. Lift and lower heels, you bend your knees, whichever you wish, or you can just stay here in your dog, a nice stationary downward facing dog. Pick up the left leg, pull the left knee in, step the left foot forward. We're always finishing with the leg we start with. We can wiggle that left foot over to the left, drop the back leg down, finding our half lizard here, hands underneath our shoulders. Again, looking at our hands and our foot, dialing out, energizing every part of the arm, the leg, really bringing a little more into the posture. Allowing that hip flexor, that psoas at the top of the leg to really stretch. It's such a very deep muscle. So this is a great posture to really just lengthen and stretch through that area. Remember, I can always come into my twist, right hand in, left arm up. And back down. Go ahead and walk that left foot over to the right, coming into pigeon on the left now, opposite side. And again, you may need to come into reclining pigeon. Notice how your body feels and act accordingly. If it doesn't feel good, move out. Come back down to your forearms, elbows replacing the hands. So the elbows now are under the shoulders, and I curl through my back toes and lift up and release that leg out from underneath me back into my dolphin or forearm plank. And release the body down into Sphinx pose. Ease down to the mat, replace your elbows with your hands, pull back to your child's pose, stretching through your back. And then lift up to your downward facing dog. Step forward, forward fold. Breathe. Take a moment here in your Tadasana, mountain pose. Another sun salutation. Surya Namaskar. Arms come skyward. Swan dive down. Fold forward, Uttanasana. Bring your hands to your shins, Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold. Press the hands back down. Pick up the right knee, pull it into the chest. Extend the leg behind you and just hold here for a moment. The right leg is lengthened and parallel to the floor. The hip bone is not turned out, so it stays focused to the mat. The left hand can come out to the left, the right hand can travel to the hip. And if you choose, it can continue on skyward, where you would bring your gaze slowly to it here, coming into your half moon. Take any part of this. So maybe you stopped at the very beginning. Maybe you moved all the way through. It doesn't matter. Learn to enjoy the journey and not just be so interested in the destination. From your half moon, see if you can set that back leg down and lift up. On back into your reverse warrior. So our warrior posture. Front knee is bent. Knee is leaning to pinky. Back leg is long, the entire foot on the floor, if you will. Reaching over the head. Maybe with the left arm, maybe reaching skyward with it to feel a deeper stretch here. Whichever gives you that wonderful stretch down there, oblique in the abdomen, so you know what your body wants to do. Follow it, listen to it. It usually will tell you where it wants to go. Reverse warrior. Into your warrior 2. The knees down. Extended side angle. Remember, if you don't like your arms skyward, rest it on your back. Modify whichever way you need to. Let's make this a flow. Inhale up to your warrior 2. Exhale back, your reverse warrior. Inhale back, warrior 2. Exhale down, extended side angle. Again, inhale up. Exhale back. Inhale, warrior 2. Exhale down. Extended side angle. Lengthen through that leg and come into triangle. Just that one small change. And feel that wonderful stretch of that left leg. And the more you draw back the right arm, better the stretch in that left adductor, your inner thigh. Release the weight of the head. Just let it dangle. Surrender. Breathe. Release the right arm down. Come to your low lunge. Step back to your down dog. From your down dog, you may want to come to your plank and practice your chaturanga. Roll through the toes so that the shoulders come past the hands, elbows come in, and you're slowly coming down. Chaturanga, lifting up. King Cobra. Let's try that again. You can do all that on your knees. You can do it up against the wall as you're coming into chaturanga and learning chaturanga. Coming forward to a plank, bringing those shoulders just past the hands, coming down quickly or slowly. Whatever you need to do, lifting the heart, pushing up to King Cobra. And then you're down dog. Remember, we stop, we end with the leg we started with. So it's the right leg now. It climbs up, the right knee comes in, the right foot, stepping forward. And lift the back leg up. So lift your left leg up so that it's parallel to the floor. You may want to stop right here. Try to keep that hip bone focused to the mat. So don't turn your hip out. Don't turn the navel out. Not yet. The right hand may want to go up and out to the right to dock you. The left hand to the hip, now starting to turn the hip out, the navel slightly to the left. And maybe lifting that left arm. And last but not least, if you choose, bringing your gaze up to it in your half moon pose. Breathe. Very much a balanced posture. Very fun to practice. End up wherever it feels good for you to be. You don't have to come all the way to the end. Enjoy the ride. Release that arm down. Step the back leg down. Lift up into your reverse warrior. So we release that back foot down. We have it at an angle. The front toes are looking at the top of the mat. The back toes looking at the long side of the mat. And we reach over as we came right into warrior legs just by spinning those back toes to look at the long side. Remember, knee to pinky in the front, whole foot down to the back, reaching over. Feel that oblique, get a great stretch here along the right side. Your reverse warrior. Come to your warrior two. Virabhadrasana 2. And the knees down to your extended side angle. Let's make this a flow. Inhale up. Warrior 2. Exhale back. Reverse warrior. Inhale back. Warrior 2. Exhale down. Extended side angle. Once more. Inhale up. Exhale back. Inhale, warrior 2. Exhale down. Extended side angle. Lengthen through that leg, if you will. Feel the stretch of the right leg now. Draw that left arm back. Feel that deeper stretch in the right inner thigh, your adductor. Triangle pose. Trikonasana. Very surrendering. This has kind of been a theme of surrender in our practice this morning. And triangle pose is very surrendering. You're kind of just surrendering the upper body to the lower. Very free posture. Release that left arm now down. Come to your low lunge. Step forward. 2 steps or 1 to your forward fold. A slow reverse swan dive brings you up. Hands marry at heart center. Travel to your side. And they surrender. Just dangling alongside the body. Take a deep breath in and out. So we've already done a lot of postures that call on balance. We'll move into a short balance section, picking up one foot. We know that that causes us to balance. We know that this is much more of a cognitive exercise than even a physical exercise. We can extend arms and the leg in our 5-pointed star and come in to a crunch and back out. You can set the toes down on the mat if you need to, or you can hover for a challenge. Building strength in the leg you're on. Practicing balance. Increasing flexibility. Gaining strength in the bone by weight bearing on that right leg. One more. In. And out to your 5-pointed star. See if you bring your arms behind you. Bring your legs to that tree pose position. The shoulder blades reach towards one another as you open up the chest here. Tree pose. Vrikshasana. The opposite side. You know where we're going. We usually are very similar, if not exactly similar, from one side to the other. But our life is so habitual. So try not to, when we've done one side, already kind of go in your mind to the end almost. Enjoy every part. Learn to slow down and appreciate the moment. Surrender that need to rush, to get to the next place, to get to the next week, to have the next event. Enjoy the moment. Pick up the opposite foot now. Maybe stay right here. Maybe you don't want to come into movement. That's fine. If you do, move your limbs to your 5-pointed star. Again, you can dock yourself with a toe on the mat, or you can hover. You can bring movement in, crunch, and extend. Crunch, extend. Couple more, crunch, extension. Once more, crunch, and extension. Wonderful. Bring your legs to that tree pose. Bring your arms behind you, interlace your fingers, roll your shoulder blades towards one another, retracting them. Tree pose, Vrikshasana. Wonderful. Come to the top of your mat. Bring your arms skyward, swan dive down. Forward fold, come to the mat, whichever way is best for you. Maybe setting down one knee and then the other, maybe coming to your seated squat. If you're able to come into your seated squat, have your feet underneath your hips and wedge your elbows in between the knees as you wedge those prayer hands without moving the feet, helping to stretch and open up the hips here. Such a wonderful posture. It may not be for you, so modify as needed. Maybe you're in a low squat here. Whatever is best for you. Release through this, walk your hands back, come to the center of your mat as you turn your fingers towards your feet and begin to feel the weight in your hands here. Your arms are nice and long, and you drive the sit bones down towards the heels if you can without touching the mat. When you come up, push into your left foot, lengthen through your right. Come back down if you're able. Cover that right foot over the mat. Bend through elbows. Coming back. Working triceps, working core, working glutes. You can feel this in the glute on that left side. Breathe. More you bend through these elbows, the more you're working the triceps. Let's bring that foot in. Move to the opposite side. Drive down. You come up. Lift through the leg. Drive down, bend elbows, pull that knee in, crunch with the core. Come up, extend that leg. Drive down. Hover if you can. Modify if you need. One last time. Coming down. Extend. Settle down and shift those sit bones as close to the heels as you can as you bring the upper body down. And then you're going to push into the feet and lift the sit bones up, finding a nice straight line from knees to hips to shoulders. Setu Bandhasana. We move into inversions. This is a pretty mild inversion, bridge pose. Most people can perform this. We are still very mindful to keep our gaze to the ceiling. In inversions, when we're on the floor like this, it's very compromising to the cervical spine. So you want to keep from the shoulders up very stable. Do not turn your head from side to side. Keep your gaze skyward. So you can stay here in bridge pose, or you can come even to a more simplistic inversion up the wall, just lifting your legs up, pressing your lower back onto the floor. Or keeping your gaze to the ceiling, you can roll those legs over the body, behind the head, give a little push if you need to with your sit bones, bring the feet behind the head. Maybe they touch the floor, maybe they don't. You down plow pose if you're here. A full flexion of the back, the spine, all the way up into the neck. A lot of people with neck issues love this because it really stretches and flexes the spine, but very compromising. So keep your gaze skyward. You can lift your legs into the sky, tripod your lower body with your hands. So like a tripod, your hands are just allowing that pelvic bone to sit in the groove between your thumb and your first finger. Sarvangasana. You can do whatever you wish with your legs. This can be very dynamic. You can change the legs, scissoring, bending, jetting out, crisscrossing, crunching. You can do whatever you want with the lower body. Just do not move from the shoulder up. Sarvangasana, shoulder stand. And then to come out of this, we're going to come all the way back like we were into plow and then ease back down. The less you use your arms, the more you're using your core. You're coming back to your up the wall pose and setting the feet back down and coming back into bridge. Push into the feet, squeeze the glutes, lift the body. Setu Bandhasana. Release the sit bones down, pick up the right leg and place the outer ankle up against that left leg and then pull the left knee in. Feel that stretch wrapping around the gluteus, the outer thigh. You can even grab onto the back of the left leg. You can lift your head and neck up to strengthen those muscles. You have your legs in the number 4 position, and anytime you have that number 4 shape with your legs, you're helping to stretch the piriformis. So like our pigeon pose, or like, what we're doing right now. Anything where you make the number 4, you're helping to, again, stretch, open up that piriformis, lift it off of that sciatic nerve. So people who suffer from sciatic nerve pain love these type of postures. All right, set the foot down. We move to the opposite side. Now it's the outer left ankle on top of the right leg. Maybe you stay right here. Maybe you want to grab onto the back of the right leg. Maybe you want to lift your head and neck and hold it up, strengthening those neck muscles. So again, you know where you need to go and you know what you need to avoid if you're listening to your body. Breathe. Then we release and we bend through the knees and we pull them in and just rock back and forth, giving our knees a hug. We all need hugs. They're very medicinal. Hopefully this won't be your last one today. Open your arms to either side and shift the legs to the right. Hold for a moment, look over to the left. Feel the spine open, twist, flex. Use your core to pick up the legs and allow them to float over to the left. Your gaze to the right now. Breathe. And then again, nice tight core, pick up the legs. Give the legs a hug, maybe pull the knees up again, pressing the lower back into the mat. Go ahead and jet the left leg out, maybe hover it over the mat. Hug on to the right. You can alternate here. Hug on to the left, jet out with the right, hover it. You can pull your nose up towards your knee again. And set one leg down and then the other, and allow the body now to surrender to the mat. Listen to that communication where the mind says, you've worked hard, you're done. Time to rest and relax. And the body listens and responds, and it falls into a position. And you notice what the body perceives as a relaxed state. Breathe. Take a deep breath in. And release that breath and let go of all those things that are bottled up inside of you. Don't take them with you away from this practice. Leave this practice feeling free and light, where you have surrendered all of the things that do not serve you. Let them go. And then allow movement to happen and notice what moves and how freely it moves and effortlessly. And give thanks for that. Be grateful. In gratefulness, we find joy. And through joy, we find, through peace, we find contentment. From contentment, you feel love. When you're ready, rotate onto one side or the other. Take a deep breath in and come up. And we always recognize that we're on the same mat. We're in the same place. We're in the same position. But we're not the same. You are stronger. You're freer and lighter. Hopefully you have let go of those things that you've been holding on to. You take a deep breath in and you realize life flows through you, not just to you. So we know we can go out now and take what we have experienced and share it with others. As we bring our hands to heart center, we remember that salutation that we state at the end of every practice, Namaste. It simply means the light and life in me, honors and respects, and loves the light and life in you. Namaste. Thank you so much for your support of this class. It always amazes me how many people click on Facebook and Teams, especially early Friday morning. I appreciate you and love you dearly. And I love this practice, and I hope you do as well. And I hope you gain from it. And I hope you can go out and take what you've shared now with others. Namaste. Have a wonderful weekend.